Hello everybody, it's Vertical Sandwich. Apparently there's a forage point for this at Skull Mountain. So, before we hit that though, I want to hit something else that's in this area. It's a thing we don't hit very often. Probably should. Because it gives us, automatically gives us the ingredients for, is it this? Yeah. This gives us the ingredients for the big, yeah, planet crystal, I don't think is what I needed, but... So anyway, there's a forage point near Skull Mountain. But we should hit that forage point as often as we can. Because it gives us the ingredients to make the things to do final evolutions for our familiars. Is the almighty elk walking around up here? Because at one point, okay, so at one point in my practice file, there was like the almighty elk walking around up here, and he's huge. He's just this big thing that you can... Maybe if we just land, we'll see him. He's enormous. He's like stupid enormous. And so I see him, and I'm like, hey, he's like a big thing that's just kind of like hanging around. I wonder what he does. And he's an enemy, and he's a very powerful enemy. And we're going to have to beat him up later, but... so if you see him, if you see the almighty elk, and you'll notice him, trust me, he's bigger than he should be. He looks like a bounty. Don't just fight him. Don't just go like, I wonder what's going on. Like, I guess I'll go talk to him. I thought he might be an NPC or something. He is not. Okay, forage point. I mean, it can't actually be in Skull Mountain. That doesn't make any sense. It has to be down here off the path. I have to pull up my walkthrough and see, but wasn't there one near one of these, like, barricades? There probably wasn't anything this far up. But I don't see any sparkles. Okay, I don't feel great. I feel like what I feel like is happening is my sinuses are getting really congested. So, like, I've got pressure and pain behind my eyes. Well, here's the only forage point I see. Well, that's what I needed. Okay, Highwayman's handgun. And there we go. It looks ridiculous. It looks like it has bananas on the side of it. Okay. Ice crystal claws. Those are cool. Set of woodland claws. Some crucible claws. Look at all these great steel claws. Blah, blah, blah. We'll be going through the alchemy formulas later. It's going to be boring. It's going to be so boring. Whoa, is he chasing me down? Are you kidding? I mean, I'll take a shot at him.
We're under attack.
Who knows? We might catch a spitool again. I don't even know. Oh, wow, these guys hold up pretty well, considering, you know. Whoa! You know what? I would never have imagined that That was a great prediction. We caught a spitool again. Fun. We did indeed. Of course we're gonna keep this spitool again. Spencer, Tooley, Mulligan, Yobo. Like, okay, his name is now, he's Loogie. Like, that is what we're gonna call him. Like, cause we can. Now, can we travel to the ivory tower? We cannot. Alright, that literally is all the time wasting I have. We could read another Tale of Wonder, but I'm saving a lot of those for post-game. By the way, if I've missed one, let me know. You know what? I should go over that. Let's go over that. When we get in here, we're gonna look at the Tales of Wonder, and we're gonna go over their titles. And if I've missed one in the sequence, you guys are gonna let me know, because the only one I think I can is the Fairy That Cried. I think is the only one I could have missed. Okay, so we read the first tale, The Cowardly Prince and the Lion. The Squirrel and the Bramble, we definitely read. The Fairy Who Wouldn't Stop Crying, have we read that? If we haven't, please put it in the comments. Okay, The Man, Bear, and the Princess's Tears, we've definitely read. The Boy Who Would Be God, we definitely read that. My Other Self, we definitely read that. How the Little Girl Became Queen, that we have not read. So the seventh tale. Why not? Because it's, okay. How the Little Girl Became Queen, the little girl. In Xanadu, the kingdom in the clouds, the ruler had always possessed many a mysterious power. Not least, the ability to make the most prescient of prophecies. This is the story of one such ruler of whom little was expected when first she ascended to the throne. Xanadu's new ruler was a little girl, cowardly and weak. Though it was a peaceful place with a temperate climate and few if any monsters, Xanadu had never known a cowardly ruler. The thought alone was simply preposterous. The girl herself knew that she was a coward, having never displayed courage or daring since the moment of her birth. She was scared of sleeping alone, and the thought of being in the temple at night filled her with a holy dread. Despite claiming that she had a well of courage to draw on if necessary, she would undoubtedly have been found wanting if she had been asked to deal with a giant, or a dragon, or even a lion. Life surrounded by adults was lonely and dull for the little girl. She had no friends, became very sullen. As a result, everyone assumed that she was humble and wise, for most of those who rise to rule over Xanadu are powerful sorceresses, and prone to self-importance. Though baseless, the myth of the little girl's wisdom meant that her reign was very peaceful, with none of the tensions or infighting that marred the reigns of her predecessors. This is actually an interesting story. Sinister rumors. She had not ruled for long, however, when it became apparent that a dragon had taken up residence near Xanadu, in a great cavern, measureless to man. Okay, that is actually a direct line. Like, that is clearly a reference to the poem Xanadu, or the poem Kubla Khan by Coleridge. He talks about caverns measureless to man down to a sunless sea. Alas, this was no ordinary dragon. Indeed, it was said to be as large as a castle, utterly evil, and endowed with a tail twice 5 miles long. Okay, the river in that poem is twice 5 miles. Such sinister rumors grew, as sinister rumors always do, and by the time they reached the palace, they had the courtiers in a state of some excitement. After much frantic discussion, a conclusion was reached. Their ruler, the little girl, must be sent to deal with the dragon. Though she was still young, everyone believed her to be both wise and brave, and it was concluded that her age was of no significance. Thus, having no choice but to fulfill the duty assigned to her, the little girl set off for the dragon's cavern. Please let there be a dulcimer in here. The waning moon cast scarcely any light into the dismal cavern, and big wet drops fell onto the little girl's head as she made her way through the darkness, nervously clutching her wand. Though she quivered with fear, she knew that she had little choice but to push on. She was the ruler of Xanadu, after all, and rulers must show courage, however frightened they may be. Having pushed deep into the cavern, the girl finally encountered the dragon. It was not as big as she'd feared, but it would still have ordinarily been more than a match for a little girl like her. The dragon, however, was injured. One of his wings was broken, and he was unable to fly. Indeed, he had no way at all of avoiding the little girl's spells. It seemed the tables had turned in her favor. Just then the dragon turned to her and said, "You came alone. I suppose you knew I was injured. I shall surely perish soon. All you need do is wait, and your duty shall be fulfilled. But the little girl took out her wand and proceeded to draw a rune. The spell she cast began to heal the dragon's wounds. Being so young, it took a long time for the healing magic to work, but her concentration never wavered. Heal me, and I could come after you and eat you. Are you sure? Are you sure about what you're doing? Why is the dragon trying to talk her out of it? The little girl thought for a moment before replying politely. I should not like to be eaten, yet I do not see why you should die. Perhaps we could reach an agreement instead. I will heal your wing if you swear to spare this kingdom. The dragon made no reply and simply gazed at the girl with flashing eyes. Once the wing had been fully healed, the dragon picked up the little girl and, placing her on his broad back, strode out of the cavern. Then, flexing his newly healed wing, he carried the girl to the summit of a tall mountain. As the dragon reached the top of the mountain, it seemed to grow in front of the girl's eyes. At last, it began to resemble the castle-sized dragon that the courtiers of Xanadu had mentioned. Indeed, it began to look as though it could eat a castle thrice over. This is my true self, declared the dragon. Now you may be weak, but you are both courageous and kind. My original intent was to eat every one of your subjects, but I have decided to honor our bargain and spare this kingdom. The dragon's kind words touched the little girl deeply, and the two of them became great friends. Then the dragon shrank back to his smaller size and put the girl on his back again, and together they made for Xanadu. When they reached the city, however, the dragon grew big once more. When the little girl explained what had happened to her courtiers, they realized not only that she was wise and brave, but that she was also very kind. From that moment on, she was no longer referred to as the little girl. She had become the Queen of the Heavens. She never forgot her dragon friend, and they spoke together often until the end of their days. Well, that is nice. That was a nice story, and we still have 8 minutes to go back to wherever. So the next one will be the Shepherd Boy. Again, if I have forgotten the fairy who would not stop crying, please let me know. That story is not fantastic, but it's okay. The best story so far has been that last one because it had all the references to Coleridge in it. Like, yes, where Aleph, the sacred river, ran through chasms measureless to man, down to a sunless sea. I'm sure that is the line from Coleridge. Why do I know that? Because I was a lit major. That's why. Because I was a lit major and I loved the romantic period in poetry, so. Where am I going? This way. Okay. Map. Oh wow, I didn't know you could pull out the world map in a dungeon. So yeah, so I have a lot of, like, not a lot of stuff from that period memorized, but enough. Enough that it's impressive that I can just pick up things like that, I suppose. Now, if you were to throw in references to a bunch of modern poetry, like the work of Charles Wright and stuff, I couldn't quote any of that stuff. Although I've read a ton of E. Cummings. So, he's, you know. I could maybe a little bit of stuff from like the beat stuff too, like, I don't know. I'm not a giant fan of that stuff, but I'm familiar with it. But I love the romantic stuff because it's where people really started kind of getting, I don't know how to say it. They started in poetry. They really started picking kind of odder subject matter, and stuff started being a little less archaic. It's more understandable to modern readers, as opposed to stuff from, you know, the 1700s, where, you know, the language can be a real problem. The stuff still sounds kind of like Shakespeare, you know, it's very formal and structured and very ruled, and, you know, then Coleridge is just writing poems about daffodils, and it becomes a lot more fun. In my opinion. The stuff that came out during World War II is really great too. But yeah, And don't get me wrong, I mean, I've read a lot of older stuff. I was a lit major, so I mean, I've read a lot of, you know, Shakespeare and stuff like that. In fact, performed Shakespeare once. I was in Midsummer Night's Dream. I was Demetrius. I don't remember any lines from that at all, but... And I've seen a lot of Shakespeare performances as well. Like, you know, I saw a live performance of Macbeth once. That was fantastic. Comedy of Errors, I saw that once. It's good. I suggest that stuff to anybody. I really do. That stuff is far more easy. Shakespeare is far easier to understand if you see it performed. I mean, it's directly analogous to trying to, like, you know, reading the script of a movie and trying to picture what's going on, you know, like, as they have things in there like, you know, camera pans across, you know, an industrial scene. Like, you can imagine that, but seeing it is far better. Well, Shakespeare works the same way, right? I mean, you wouldn't... Like, especially Comedy of Errors, which is so weird to see. Oh, there's our boy.
Here we go. Here goes.
Okay, we got it. Oh, Twinkle Twinkle. We're in trouble now. Whoa, actually, that did some damage. I mean, it mainly hit Esther, but... Okay. Let's get our crazy level up.
Is that it?
Oh, Towering Inferno. Parp. What's Parp? I need to know what Parp is. An explosive wave of sound deals physical damage to all enemy. Okay, that sounds great. Yeah, well, yeah. Yeah, Parp it is. Parp really sounds like a medical condition. It really does. It sounds like a medical term or something. Maddening Melody, okay. A truly irritating ditty prompts all enemies to attack the singer who defends stoutly. Okay, that's kind of cool. Well, it seems better than Yoo-Hoo, so we'll... Alright, I have to re-up on Veil. Okay, level 62 is going to be the level that we're going to face the end of this game at. And, I seriously don't know how we're going to do that, but it's okay. It's fine. So in our next video, we will be taking on the... Well, there's going to be cutscenes. I mean, clearly there's going to be cutscenes, right? There has to be. But I'm going to take the time between this video and the next to go through and re-up my equipment for all of my familiars, because they clearly don't have the best stuff on that they can. We've found some things. So, yeah. I mean, if we look right here, we just go to this guy. Radiant Blade is not better than Sorcerer's Soul. Oh, actually it is. Well, I mean, magic attack is better. And accuracy is better. But clearly some other character is going to have a better use for this. Because we only have the... Oh, wait, we have 2 Radiant Blades. See, well, there's a thing. Like, couldn't this guy use a Radiant Blade? He could. See, look at that. And he's got a space here that's not filled with anything. I mean, Water Bomb's all he can do. And doesn't he need to be metamorphable? He does. Do I have what I need to metamorph him? I don't think I do. We stopped feeding these guys a long time ago, by the way. Yeah, I don't think I have the stuff to make a Jumbo Star Drop either. I don't. I need 3 star crystals. So I can't metamorph him even if I want. So when we come back, more of this. Bye, everybody.